Welcome to SRG Insights, where we answer your questions about sales, sales management, and sales training. Today's question is...
Emma Roloff asks, how do you re-engage a customer who is given a verbal that has gone silent? What ways have you re-engaged a client after weeks of radio silence?
You know, that's a great question, and unfortunately it happens all too often. It's really frustrating. You seem like you have someone with a lot of legitimate interest. They're sending you some positive buying signs, and then all of a sudden, maybe you've sent out a proposal and they stop responding to your phone calls and your emails. And you're wondering what's really going on here. They seem so positive when I was initially engaged with them. And I think it really points to the importance of qualification early on. And I think sometimes when we're getting good feedback from a prospect, we have a tendency to overlook qualification and really just kind of follow the buying signals that we're getting. And there's this temptation, we're getting good news, build on that good news, and then we end up with a proposal, and then all of a sudden radio silence. Very frustrating. And I think it gets back to really thinking about, yes, we want to build on that positive feedback that we're getting from that prospect, but it really gives us an opportunity and maybe even a little bit easier to qualify. And so I want to share with you a very simple qualification technique. It's called Bant. Bant's an acronym that stands for budget, authority, need, and timing. So we're getting that positive feedback, and we may want to start by exploring budget. That's really interesting. Is this something that's currently a budgeted initiative? If they say yes, great. Well, when are you thinking about implementing? That gets to the timing. Oh, if it's not, who would be involved in approving that budget? Can I learn a little bit more about, what it would take to implement a solution like this at your company? Authority. Oh, that's great. I'm really pleased that it's a budgeted initiative. It sounds really exciting. Who else besides you would be involved in the decision-making process? So let's start to understand if there's more decision makers involved. And one of the things that we've really found recently is that as you have more complex decisions, the number of decision makers involved can really grow exponentially. I was doing an interview recently for a magazine on this topic, and when you have complex solutions, it may impact IT, it could impact finance, it could impact sales, it could impact marketing. So there may very well be more people involved, and understanding their roles as influencers and their level of authority is really important. Business need. The business need is crucial. Even if there's budget and authority, if there isn't a viable business need, then it may not still get approved. So what you want to really do is use this idea of need to really sell value. The value that your solution presents and how it uniquely helps them solve their business need. And then the last area, timing. This may have come up with budget, this may have come up with authority, but it's still important to ask again, assuming you were to move forward with this, when would you like to see it implemented? So you're trying to get a sense for how soon. And I think these simple qualification techniques are really important, not only when you're getting some resistance, but also when you're getting those buying signals. It's really easier to ask. You should ask them in a very casual, but very authentic manner. And now you're not only building on the positive feedback, you're really figuring out exactly what it's going to take for you to get a signature and move your solution forward within that organization.